the woman was terrified to discover that the shirt her husband wore during his cremation had mysteriously appeared at home. She immediately recalled a series of strange events that had happened recently. A few days ago, she woke up suddenly from a dream. In the dream, her husband had come back, but in reality, her husband had been dead for 7 days. She thought it was just a nightmare. However, when she turned around, she was shocked to find a ring on the bedside table. At first, she thought it was her own wedding ring, but when she looked at her hand, her own ring was still there. She broke into a cold sweat, because the ring was actually her husband's. She distinctly remembered touching his wedding ring with her own hands during his cremation. Just as the woman wondered where the ring came from, she heard the sound of her daughter playing with her husband in the other room. She rushed into her daughter's room, but there was no one there. Her daughter innocently said that daddy had been playing hide and seek with her. The woman thought her daughter must be missing her father too much and was having a hallucination, so she gently comforted her. But what happened next made her even more uneasy. The familiar scent of cologne filled the air. She remembered that her husband's belongings had all been burned with the cremation and couldn't help but feel suspicious. But her daughter insisted that daddy was still there. When the woman turned around, she saw a shadow behind the curtains. She jumped in fear, gathered her courage to pull back the curtain, but found nothing there. It was just a false alarm, and nothing unusual was found. So, she comforted her daughter to sleep, thinking it was just an illusion caused by their sadness. However, when she reached for the ring, she found that it had disappeared. At that moment, their wedding photo suddenly fell off the wall. She was startled again. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was the nail on the wall that had fallen, but the fate of the ring remained a mystery. The next day, the woman woke up and was shocked to find that the wedding photo had mysteriously reappeared on the wall, but she clearly remembered not hanging it back up yesterday. She got out of bed and poured a glass of milk, but when she went to send her daughter to school and turned around, she found that the milk had turned into coffee, and coffee was her late husband's favorite drink. Fear swept over her again. Just then, a staff member from the lottery office came to her, telling her that her husband had won $1 million prize, and asked her to claim the prize at store number 444 before midnight. The staff member also mentioned that the ticket had been bought on April 4th, the same day her husband was cremated. Suspicion arose in her heart again. That night, the woman nervously went to the address on the business card, only to find that it led to a creepy graveyard. She turned around and noticed that the sanitation worker who had been nearby was now gone. Just as she was about to lose her balance in fear, her best friend hurriedly arrived. The woman immediately told her everything that had happened. Her best friend thought it was just a prank, believing the woman was having a delusion, but the woman firmly believed her husband had come back and repeated what her daughter had said. Her best friend suggested installing surveillance at home. In the middle of the night, the woman groggily felt someone had broken into the house. She suddenly woke up, hurriedly got out of bed to check, but found nothing unusual. She went to her daughter's room and saw that her daughter was sleeping soundly, so she opened the phone's surveillance app, only to be horrified to see a faint shadow near the curtain in her room. Her hair stood on end with fear, and her phone fell to the floor with a loud thud. Trembling, she asked who the figure was, but received no response. Panicking, she picked up the phone and quickly